we're going to take a look at how to quickly and easily copy job transactions from an Excel spreadsheet over to OpenPoint. To start things off, we need to pull up a template that's designed for this particular purpose. So I went into the reports module. I'm going to look up this report based on the word bulk. So you've got this job transaction bulk entry. So I'm going to click Start and Create, and it's going to then generate the Excel spreadsheet that we're going to use to get this started. So once you have this spreadsheet generated, you don't have to generate it every time if you don't want to. You can just use an existing one. One advantage, however, of doing it on an as-needed basis, however, is that the system will automatically import all of your active jobs. And so if I hit this drop-down list, it's going to show me all the active job numbers in the database. So I can click on one of those. If I try to provide a different value, it's not going to let me do that here. I can also put in a transaction type. That's actually required. So I'm going to say this is an outside cost, which is kind of a generic catch-all. And for my description, I'm going to put in tree trimming. And let's give it a plan account of 107. So that'll spread to all of the various different transactions that are available to it. And then put in $500 for the cost. And for the allocation, we're going to say that we're going to do both installs and removals on that. And so the nice thing here is I can then copy and paste this. And so I can do several of these and all at one time, so I don't have to re-enter all those numbers. So let's say that I had 5 different outside costs, all for the same job number. Actually, I went a little bit too far there, so let me take one of those out. And they're all going to be the same transaction type, and they're going to have different descriptions, so I'm going to put those in right now. So I've got a few different descriptions in. Let's say they all have the same plan account, so that I can say the same, and they just have different dollar amounts. So I'm going to just very quickly put in some numbers here. This doesn't really mean a whole lot. And we'll keep the allocation the same. So once you've entered all of the transactions in, and you can do this across multiple job numbers as well, then you'll just copy all of the data that you entered plus the column headers. So these column headers have to be exactly the same. As long as you have the exact right column names there, you can even actually use a generic spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be this particular one. So I'm going to copy that, and then we'll go into OpenPoint again. And going back to the job screen on the main menu, there's an option down on the lower left under the bulk entry section called generic transactions. And so I'm going to click on that, and I don't have any right now, so it's showing me that. And I'm going to click the plus button and say import. And so all I have to do now is just paste those transactions from Excel into that little text box, and it's going to tell me that it did it. And there you have it. So we have all those transactions are now available here. These blue bars on the left-hand side are kind of a validation check. So if it's blue, that's good. We want those to show up as blue. That means that they didn't find any problems. So now I can just hit the save button, and those will all be saved. So let's not do that though. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to clear that out and go back into it. And this time, let's actually cause an error to be displayed so that you can see what that looks like. So normally it does validate the plan accounts as you enter them, but I found a way to actually get around the validation. If you use that little box here and pull down from it, it'll go and add a 1 to that, which is not a valid plan account. And so I've gotten past the validation in Excel, but let's see if I can get past the validation in OpenPoint. So I did a copy and paste. And then I'll go back here, and again we'll hit the plus button and then say import, and I'll paste those in and say import. It completed again, but this time you see that one of these records has a red bar next to it. So that tells us there's some kind of validation problem. So what I can do now, of course I can go back to Excel, I could correct the problem and just re-import it, or I can just click on it and it'll tell me that the plan account wasn't found. So it's showing me in red again that there's a problem, and I can just go in here and fix that. It's like, oh, I know that's supposed to be 107.0000. I can say done, and now it will change the bar to blue, and I can just click on the save button up here, and I've saved all my transactions, and I'm ready to move on to the next task.